The project we're doing today is going to go on those two little hooks in the center of my mirror. It's going to be a teal colored reindeer frame to add a little bit more of that turquoise color to my turquoise and red decoration. Okay, I got this frame, which is really cool, at Michael's, and I'm going to put my fake deer head, because I'm a vegetarian, in it, and then I'm going to hang little ornaments from the bottom. So the first step of this we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and paint it, prime it with gesso. Okay, so I'm going to paint these. I'm going to paint the frame exactly the same way. It's kind of big to fit in this little area. So the first thing you want to do is you want to get gesso. And this is super cheap gesso. It's Liquitex Basic, so it's not expensive. And what it looks like is just white primer. And what you're going to want to do is just get a glop of it out there. So once you have your glop out, you're going to want to grab a brush. You want to grab a big enough brush, because if you try to paint these, now granted, you could probably get into the holes easier, but it's going to take you forever. And this is just a primer coat. So we just want to get some gesso onto here, because it's going to seal that open wood, right? So if you're ever doing open wood like this, you want to get a coat of gesso on, and it can just be a thin one. But if you don't do that, a couple of things are going to happen. You're not going to get a smooth coating to your paint, number one. And number two, you're going to waste a lot of your acrylic paint, which costs more money than gesso does. Like, you can buy a whole gallon of gesso, and it really is just a primer. Okay? And I'm going to paint the backs of these just because they're going on a mirror. I don't tend to do the backs of my art projects, if you've seen any of the ones that I've done, just because I'm lazy. And they're just going up for the season. Like, I'm not making something that's going to be a lifelong family heirloom. But if, you know, this all depends on what you want to do, right? You can, for sure, do your craft projects the way you want to do them. So I'm just going to get that off of there. I don't want too many gloppies. And then I do want to make sure that, see how there's some, there's a bunch of gesso in that hole. I don't want a bunch of gesso in that hole, because I'm going to want to put ribbon through there, and that would mess me up. I use the Tim Holtz glass media mat. You could use some non-stick craft sheet. You could use some wax paper, but this is not going to stick to glass, so I'm just going to leave it there for a wee minute, turn it over, and I will be back once everything is primed and ready to go. Okay, so we have these, and Mom had already painted a couple of those. We have these dry. They're pretty dry. Maybe not the edges where it's gloppy, but close enough for government work, as we say here. So now I'm going to use a two-step process for this. I'm going to paint the entire frame teal, and then I bought this fun color shift by Folk Art. It says acrylic paint metallic gloss finish. So I'm going to have the base of it in a color, and I'm going to do the outside ones. I think I'm going to have 2 green ones and 3 red ones. So it's going to go like this. So I will start working on them. So you could use a palette. I'm just trying to get a coat of paint on here. And see how nicely it goes on now that the gesso is on there? If you didn't have the gesso, it would be soaking in like that gesso did. And like I said, you know, acrylic paint costs way more money than gesso does. So you want to try to avoid that if you can. And I'm thinking I probably, well, maybe not. It seems to be going on pretty nice. If I needed to, I could put a second coat on, but I think that especially for Christmas, which is just going to be up for a little bit, that will be plenty fine. Okay, so we have those done. We'll leave this to be our green brush. And now we need a decent sized brush because I don't want to have to, what's my decent, I guess that's about the same size, huh? Okay, and these guys are going to be red. And I really should shake my paint up. And I have a turquoise and red Christmas theme this year. You saw a little bit of it at the very beginning. I'm super excited with how cute it's turning out. But I could use some more turquoise, so that's why I decided to go with the frame. And you want to get a good coat of paint on here if you're not going to do 2 coats, right? So I'm thinking I'm not going to do 2 coats. Especially because I have another fancy metallic Sunday go to meeting layer like we used to say when I was growing up. I grew up in northwestern Pennsylvania. We got lots of weird sayings. All right, I want to get around the edge. Especially because this one was painted green before. I stole them from my mother-in-law. She's doing a whole bunch of painting, but she said I could use some of them, so I went and grabbed this one. And last but not least, oh, I had a huge aha while I was painting the frame. And let me finish this up, and I'm going to grab it so I can tell you, because obviously I can't talk without showing you. Okay, and I'm going to put this by my red paint. Boop. All right. So, because of the intricate bits here, I do feel like it would have been easier to spray paint it. But I didn't have spray paint, and I wanted to put the gesso coat down first. But if you're the kind of person who does not like to fuss around with things, I would definitely do spray paint. All right, I'm going to let these dry. I'm going to paint the frame blue, and I'll be back. Okay, I just wanted to show you real quick for all of you who worry that I'm going to ruin my desks with my paint. I painted the turquoise frame with acrylic paint, kind of a coat and a half. I did it once, and then I just went back and did the next part top, and then the other ones, and they're all drying. It's going to take a little bit because I live in Florida, so it takes a while for paint to dry. I'll be back to put on the fancy coat. Okay, I think it's finally dry. So I'm going to do the same process, but I'm going to show you on the little ornament. Now, if you like them full color, leave them that way, right? Like, this is your project. You don't have to do anything. But for me, I like to have a little bit of dimension, something like that. So I'm going to kind of paint this side of them, almost making a fadey bit. And all of my parts, all of my extra bits are going to be top left to bottom right. Okay, so this is something that you need to know about, is that when you're doing something like this, if you're going to do something, you have to do it the same way every time. Otherwise, it's going to confuse people that look at it. They aren't going to know that they're confused, but it's going to make them kind of woozy because they don't all. So if I did some of them this way and some of them this way, it would be confusing. And then maybe if we want to do just a a little shine on this edge. Let's do a little shine on this edge, but leave that middle like that. That's all we're going to do on these. And I'm going to do this on all the red ones. You can stay and watch the red ones because it's just going to take a second. And then I'm going to do it on the, I got kind of a pink for the red ones. I don't know how that's going to work. They didn't have red metallic, so I went with a pink metallic. So we're going to have to see how that looks. It might be too light, but you never know. It's worth a shot. Oh yeah, this is going to be fine. It's just going to make it a little iridescent. And because we still have that red over there, and I'm just putting a light coat on it, it will work out fine. We're going to do this little edge to get the edge of it. Edge of it. And then do left, top left, bottom right. Okay. Let's feather that out just a wee bit. I'm going to feather that out just a wee bit. We're going to do this last one. This is super cute. There we go. Okay. And then last but not least, I'm going to do this to the whole teal one. And the reason I want to do that is that if you like it plain, if you like it to be just solid colors, then don't do this step, or don't put glitter on it, or don't put little highlights of gold on it. Like, there's a million ways you can do this. I happen to buy this fancy paint, but there's a million things a million little techniques you can do on it. But the thing is that if you don't like it to be a little jazzy, then you're never going to like this extra effect because it makes it not perfect, right? It can't be perfect. But if you like it a little jazzy, then go ahead and do that. And I'm going to head over and do the turquoise, and then we're going to put ribbons on it next after this. All right, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but I have it around the edge. So it's top left, so that whole top is done. And then the inside of this frame down on the bottom left, and then highlights around different places. And I put it on pretty thick. I put it on thick enough that you're going to see brush strokes, because I kind of want this to feel like it's an old frame I found rather than being a brand new frame I bought at Michael's 2 days ago. So that's how I did the turquoise frame. Okay, so this part's kind of easy, right? We're going to I'm going to hook strings, and I have cool ribbon that I got for this. And I'm going to hang the ornaments down from the mirror. And I'm going to have 5 different ornaments that I use. I got to grab a pair of scissors. And I want them to look super cute. So I'm going to get a little bit extra string. And I'm going to tie a fancy knot. So I'm using blue with red because that's a cute color combination. I'm going to use pink with green because those are across the color wheel, so they will look pleasing together. Okay. So just threading this through here. And I'm going to make the string up big. I want this to be fun and cute. There we go. So I'm going to do that some more times. Okay, now I'm going to tie these to the bottom of my mirror. And I'm going to have 3 pink ones, red ones at the top, and I'm going to have 2 green ones at the bottom. And I'm just going to tie these on. And I had thought about drilling holes here, but my reason for not doing that is twofold. Number one, my crafting assistant, my husband, probably wouldn't be he's super busy at work, so it would be hard to get him to do it. And second, this way I can, if I'm doing another project with this this frame, I won't have to worry about if I don't have hangy things, then it won't look weird. And again, I am using big loops here. I could probably even do a bow if I wanted to, because I have enough of a loop, but I just want these strings to be like, I want it to be festive. The idea is to be festive. If you wanted it to be neat and clean, you would put this in the back, right? And you wouldn't have a string. Now, I do think that string's a little bit long, so we'll clip that off. And I'm just gonna tie all these on, and then the next step you're gonna see is it hanging on the wall. All right, so she turned out super cute. I love how it hangs down. It goes with my whole red and turquoise Christmas theme. She fits right in up there, fills out that space. And it was very easy to do. So this is a quick and easy craft you can make in any color for your Christmas.